Hi, and welcome back to my channel. This is gonna be a video about reading and not really about the books I've read. I noticed that the video that got the most views on this channel is about keeping a reading journal. So I thought that, doing a follow-up to that might be useful for some of you who are looking to make your reading journey a bit more meaningful. So today's video is going to be about how to read more. Now, just a disclaimer, like I know there are a lot of booktube channels here that talk about how many books they've read in the past year, and I would say that yes, I think I've read quite a lot of books last year, maybe around like 50 or so, averaging about like 4 to 5 books a month, like a book a week. I don't really want to quantify my reading goals because I don't find that it really works for me. There's so many different kinds of books and we all process them very differently, so I don't think that having a number to reach really helps. I think if you're just starting to read again, it might be helpful to maybe put a few numbers for each month, but ultimately it gets to a point where the numbers don't matter as much as how you are progressing in your own journey in reading. So that's just my disclaimer that I'll start this video with. But of course, these tips are supposed to help you cultivate the desire to read more, and hopefully they will be helpful for you. So the first tip I have is to develop a positive relationship with reading. And how to do this is that I do have 3 questions for you to think about, and I'll put them up right now. So the first question is, what do I feel towards reading? Now you can just write whatever you think about it, isn't whatever comes to mind, whatever you feel about reading, maybe your history of reading, whether you like it, whether you dislike it, etc. The second question is, what topics are you interested in? So this can be anything. It could be in tech, it could be in health, it could be in history, etc. etc. The third is to clarify where you can get your readings from. So this could be identifying the libraries near you or identifying resources online that could help you read, for example, like subscription based like audiobooks, etc., etc., whatever might work the best for you. Okay, and just a note on this is that if you're new to reading, you can start by reading longer form articles online. So you could subscribe to newsletters, or you could just read the news more often to feel more used to reading. Tip number 2. Slowly nudge your way to reading. So what this means is that don't set too high expectations for yourself when you start reading. You're not going to finish all these books that you wish to finish, and I myself experienced so many reading slumps throughout the year. And what works best is to really just allow yourself to get into the rhythm of reading. For example, you might set yourself a few pages a week or a day, whatever fits your schedule. And then what I do personally is that whenever I find myself in a habit that I don't quite like, for example scrolling social media, I gently remind myself that I can actually pick up a book and read instead. So this could be for anything. I think this works for any habit really. And what you want to try to do is to create a natural kind of inclination towards reading. So some people recommend pairing it with something that you like. For example, you could be reading while drinking your favorite cup of coffee, or you could be reading while like enjoying music or things like that. So tip number 2 is to start to slowly develop your way, a way to read more often in your life. So the key here is to be gradual and to be kind to yourself as you develop this new habit. A lot of people would disappoint themselves by setting too high of a reading goal, and then afterwards they don't want to read. So hopefully this doesn't happen to you. Just be nice to yourself and say, like, realistically, what can you read and what are the goals that you want to reach, and try not to compare with other people because that doesn't really help. The third tip that I have is to keep a reading journal. Now I have a video on how to keep a reading journal, you can check that out, but briefly, keeping a reading journal really helps in tracking your progress in reading and gives you even more motivation to keep on reading. So like I mentioned, like quantitative tracking doesn't really help me because all these books are so different. So what really helps is to track what I've learned from the books and see how I've made connections across different books. This really helps to like create this newfound curiosity over and over again, like this feeling of anticipation when I pick up the next book, because I want to see how it relates to things I've read before. So I highly recommend finding a way to track your journey. It could be from starting a bookstagram, it could be from keeping a journal, it could be from talking to your friends about the books that you've read, or anything that helps you create this intrinsic motivation to keep on reading. So that is basically the three tips I have. And I think this is what works for me. So I don't know whether this will work for everyone, but ultimately what you want to do with reading more is to figure out what really drives you to read. Don't just read just because, like, it's supposed to help you become it seems like everyone else is reading. Or don't just read because you know that a lot of the top entrepreneurs read and so you want to be like those entrepreneurs. I think intrinsic motivations are a lot more important. Like, oh, I want to read because this is like for myself, like my self-growth. There are certain things in life that I want to figure out answers for, or it could just be for the sake of cultivating a healthier habit as compared to unhealthy habits like social media binging and things like that. So yeah, that's basically the three things I have. I hope this was simple enough. I think this would be useful for readers of any stage, I hope. And if you like this kind of content, do let me know. I hope to at least provide some kind of useful information in these videos as well. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Yay! Cool. Subscribe, like, comment, I don't know.